I believe this is about witches and their power. Also, I just want to quickly mention that I started Desperate Measures. Call me up when you feel low. No matter what it is, I wanna know. Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon and this is Head in the Books. If you're not already subscribed, there's a button like just round about here that you can press and it helps me out a lot. I'm here today to start a vlog because I've actually already finished one book on my TBR. I read After Ever Happy by Anna Todd and I have some thoughts. I haven't had the best time with this series. I've gave every book a 2 stars. Apart from this one, I gave this one a 3 stars. Objectively, I would still give this book a 2 stars. And I would not recommend this series to pretty much anyone. I know that sounds pretty harsh, but that's not even the start of it. So if you love this book, I completely get why you would love this book. I completely get why you would love the series. It is personally not a favourite of mine and I did not enjoy it as much as I wanted to. You might ask, why did I still read all 4 books? I like the drama. These are easy, fast-paced, dramatic books, and when I need a break from my fantasy books or my kind of deeper emotional books, I tend to go for trashy romances, and this fit the bill quite nicely. The reason I ended up giving this book a 3 stars and not a 2, I think has a lot to do with my personal life at the moment. There was some instances in this book that just felt a little bit too close to home, and I don't know if that's me being in my feels or if it was just because this book and the subject that it covers is something that I have been through. So yeah, I'm not saying that this is a good book by any means, and I am not recommending this book to you. I am just saying that objectively it would be a 2 stars, but on personal experience I'm going to give it a 3 stars. And I have to give props to Anna Todd because there's one thing she can do: she can write characters. Every character in this book felt really fleshed out. They felt like really alive, in your face characters, which I enjoyed, and I will give credit where credit's due. The characters are really well written, even if I don't like half of them. This one was kind of hard to read because it felt like there was a lot of plot points that were being hit just for the sake of bringing the main characters back together, which has happened in every book in this series. And it comes to a point where you're like, okay, well, just end it. Like, why does someone need to die for you to fucking love each other the way people are meant to love each other? Like, it's just, honestly, I could literally make a whole video about this series and go point by point through why this is insane, but I don't know if anybody will want to see that. And I do know that After has a pretty big following, so I wouldn't want to like step on any toes, but at the same time, if you want it, like, let me know, because I'd be willing to do that, even though it would come with a lot of content warnings. I had fun with it. I mean, like, I can't complain. It was a middle of the road read. It was better than the rest of the series, and I only have like 1 prequel left to read, and then I've done this whole series, which I'm fine with. The prequel's like 300 pages, so it's fine. It gives me a break when I need a break from all the other things that I'm reading. And yeah, I finished it. I gave it 3 stars. I don't ship Tessa and Hardin. I kind of wish Trevor came back and saved the day like a shining knight, because Trevor or Landon were my guys in this. This is the guys that I would want to see have a happy ending. And yeah, I don't know, I think that's it. The next thing that I have to read is The Nature of Witches. I have the dust jacket off because I like reading without the dust jacket, but also this book is so beautiful it doesn't even need a dust jacket. This is the book that I'm reading. I believe this is about witches and their power is linked to the seasons, so summer, winter, autumn and spring. And we follow the main character, Clara, and she is a witch that can channel her magic through any season, so she's pretty powerful, and I believe she falls in love with her instructor, if I'm not mistaken, and she needs to choose between her duty and her love, and I'm down for that. So I hope it's good. I have high hopes because the book is so beautiful. This is also my buddy read with Effie over at What Effie Reads. They will be linked down below as always. We will be reading this together and discussing how we feel about it. So this is the plan for this week coming. I have a few other plans. This is the plan for this week coming. I'm also taking part in NaNoWriMo, if you don't know, if you haven't watched my vlogs. So my reading is probably going to fall a bit to the side, but I will leave the vlogs linked down below in case you're interested in my writing for the month of November instead of my reading. But I will be trying my best to have at least 2 reading vlogs out in the month of November. So if you would like to see them or see any of my writing vlogs or my writing journey or my just total decay into mental madness, then please subscribe, hit the bell button and stick around, because I promise it is fun sometimes. We read, we write, we just try and get our lives together at some point. So I will check back in once I have read some more and have some more thoughts.
Drink juice from the sweetest berries, dance the night away. Count stars in the sky while the clouds roll by us. More clouds just to elevate. Hold hands when we need protection. Break bones, but we always mend them. Every heartbreak is a lesson. Let it go, don't be afraid. Find my love, don't lose it. Kiss my tears with music. Find my love, don't lose it. Lay in the dark, but I'm always blue. Fill suitcases up and fly across the seas. Not a thing belongs to us.
Hey, I'm back because I actually finished another book. Me, I know, I feel like I'm on a roll. It is the 11th and I've only finished 2 books, but I still feel like I'm on a roll and I'm going with it. I've been listening to Misbehave by Charlie. Fuck, I've forgotten her last name. Of course. Charlie Rose. That is the author of this book. This is a student-teacher romance. This book follows Remy and Pierce. Remy is a 17-year-old girl. She is bright, beautiful, and wants to get out of her shitty situation at home. Enter Pierce, her teacher at her new private school, and he has model looks and takes an interest in Remy. Now, let me tell you something. No teacher that was ever in any school that I went to had model looks. So I obviously went to the wrong schools, but I digress. This book is pretty dark. It's a lot darker than I thought it was going to be, and it pretty much follows Remy as she navigates her attraction to her teacher and her home life. She has a pretty hard home life. Her dad is always on the road for work and she lives with her stepbrother, which isn't really her stepbrother anymore, but they kind of grew up together and he has his issues. He's pretty abusive and pretty predatory towards Remy and wants to keep her in the house in the town, doesn't want her to really advance in life, wants to keep her his, which is pretty shitty. And I think as well with normal student teacher romance books, there is this overarching thing that the teacher is the one in the wrong and the teacher is the villain of the story in a sense of abusing power. But in this story specifically, it's really hard to look at it through that lens, considering Pierce is actually helping Remy in the situation that she's in. He is actually not the predator in this book, the stepbrother is, which I think a lot of people would agree with. And I think that's why the romance doesn't seem so bad between Remy and her teacher, because the repercussions of her not having Pierce around seems so much more severe than when he is around. I'm going to go into a little bit of spoilers here, so I will put a tag on the screen. Once the tag's gone, then there will be no more spoilers, but there's going to be spoilers, so if you're interested in this book, please wait until, or I will probably put chapters in so you can maybe skip to the non-spoilery part. This book was such a shock to me, so I went into this not expecting much because I got recommended it and I just can't remember where I got the recommendation from, and I did not know much about the story going into it, but now I know. And let me tell you, when this book is dark, so not only does Remy live with her stepbrother, he is a drug addict, a drug seller, a weapons dealer, not seller. He uses drugs, which, like, heavy drugs like heroin and stuff, so like and he is also pretty predatory towards Remy. He sneaks into her bed quite a lot and is very cemented in the fact that she is his, and that when she turns 18 she will not have a choice in the matter, which is why when Remy meets Pierce, it seems like he's helping her because of her home life. He actually seems to care about her, and because this book is split POV, you get that Remy is completely consenting to everything that happens with Pierce. If not completely consenting, she is actually one that initiates it. So it is really hard to look at this through a normal student-teacher lens, because Remy is in danger and Pierce saves her from that danger. I really liked Remy as a character. I thought she was smart and brave and pretty brazen, but at the same time, about the 85% mark, I got so frustrated because it was like all the way through, it was like she was smart and brave and pretty, and like she had her shit together, and then it felt like about 15% from the end, 10% from the end, she turned into this silly, naive girl. And it was like, you've just totally done a 180 on this character that's not believable. It wasn't believable to me that this 180 would happen. But I can't complain, because for the majority of the book, Remy was a really solid character. Then there is also the storyline that Pierce's sister was a drug addict and her boyfriend was the stepbrother Ryan, and Ryan sold her the drugs that killed her. So Pierce has been putting together a dossier to try and get justice for his sister, and in turn put Ryan behind bars for dealing drugs and weapons and stuff. So there is the fact that he is doing this without Remy knowing, and he didn't actually know Remy and Ryan knew each other until he seen them together, and then his plans sort of slowed, but they did not change. I believe if he told Remy from the start, it probably would have changed the whole feeling of the relationship. And even though the overarching thought is that he has more power in the position that he's in because he is her teacher, it never actually felt like he used it in the way that is often spoke about when a student-teacher relationship is written about, which it's so weird because this is the first student-teacher relationship book that I've actually not minded the student and the teacher ending up together. I was actually pretty happy that Pierce and Remy ended up together. Like, her dad knew that, he quit his job, his parents knew, it turned into a real relationship at the end, which I was actually pretty okay with. And I think that the reason that it seemed okay was because Remy's alternative to Pierce was Ryan, and Ryan was a creep. He was this this close away from being a fucking rapist. So, like, yeah, I'm gonna pick Pierce over him. And I think it's like, for some strange reason, it feels like Pierce was the lesser of two evils until the very end, when the relationship became legit and you realized that he wasn't actually evil. He was just wanting some closure on losing his sister, and he blamed Ryan for it, which he came to terms with in the end. And oh my god, the fact that Ryan dies in this book hurt me out of nowhere. I liked it, but I was pretty dang shocked that Ryan died, because I thought like, I literally thought that Pierce had killed him, but no, he didn't. He ended up getting shot by someone that he obviously sold drugs to, owed money to. Someone in that life shot him dead. This then pushes Remy back into being with Pierce, which I kind of get why the story went like that, because it makes Pierce kind of like her knight in shining armor, which he was on multiple occasions. Ryan threw her through a glass table and he came up and took her away from that situation. Ryan done a lot of things that were wrong, and I think that's why I just wanted her to be with Pierce, because he was the better one for her. He actually cared about her and her safety. And the fact that he quit his job so that the power dynamic was on fair grounds gave me a lot of respect for him. So, like, yes, this is a student-teacher romance, but in the end, it kind of becomes more of an age gap romance, which I don't mind at all. I really enjoyed this book. I am shocked, and I'm not mad at it. So I gave Misbehaved by Charlie Rose a 4 stars, and I would highly recommend the audiobook. Please look up content warnings. The main ones would be abuse, drug use, and obviously a student-teacher romance, age gap romance. Just please, if you are going to pick this up, look for content warnings, because there are a few in this book, but it's worth it. Also, I just want to quickly mention that I started Desperate Measures. Oh god, this book. So I obviously have seen this book do its rounds on BookTube and Book Talk and everything, and I didn't know exactly what it was. I knew that it was kind of a series of retellings of Disney movies with smut, and these books are filthy. Like, I'm only on the first one, and it is a romance between Jasmine and Jafar. These books are set in the real world, so I take it it's not actually specifically stated, but the way that I see it in my head is that Jasmine's dad was like a mafia boss, and Jafar killed him and took his territory, and in turn took Jasmine. And I had no idea that these books delved into like BDSM and quite heavy filth. I am not mad about it, but someone needed to warn me, because I actually started listening to this book at work, and the giggles that I got while listening to this book, not only the giggles, like, this book made me blush, and I don't blush that easily when it comes to smutty books. But it had me blushing and giggling, and I'm here for it. I think I'm about halfway through now, and I'm liking it. Like, I'm not shocked that I'm liking it. I'm just shocked that it is as filthy as it is. But I'm enjoying myself, and I'm gonna be a giggling, blushing idiot at work tonight when I continue listening to this book. And I will come back to you tomorrow and tell you my final thoughts on it. But so far, it's doing it for me. I'm quite enjoying it. So I will come back once I have untangled myself from Jasmine and Jafar.
Call me up when you feel low. No matter what it is, I wanna know.
Hey, hi, hello, I am back because I finished Desperate Measures by Kate Roberts. I do not know where to start with this book. I think I'm going to give this book 3.5 stars. The smut is grade A smut. I really had a fun time with the spiciness of this book, especially because I went into it not realizing how smutty it was. It was a nice surprise, to be fair. So this book is pretty much a retelling of Aladdin, but with Jasmine and Jafar as the main couple. And let me tell you, the chemistry was so great. I had to knock off a few stars because I feel like the world building was severely lacking. I cannot tell you what any of them do. Like, supposedly Jafar stole Jasmine's dad's territory and then took Jasmine for himself, and I'm like, why do you need to steal territory? Like, there was no explanation on why this would happen, and the further it went on, the more it just started to annoy me with no context of the world. Like, certain things they would say would make me think that it's fantasy, and I would be like, okay, it's fantasy. And then they talk about like computers and going to college, and I'm like, okay, it's not fantasy. And then every character is called after like mythology or or fairy tales, and I'm like, okay, so what the fuck is this? Because it's not set in our world, but it's not set in a fantasy world either. And it just kind of irked me and kind of kept taking me out of the story, unfortunately. I will say that the characters and the smut was really well written, and it was a very easy, very fun, fast-paced read. And I moved on to the sequel like straight away, so I'm now reading Learn My Lesson, or Learn My Lesson. The title will be here. So I jumped right into that, and I'm really enjoying that. The second one is about Hades and Meg and Hercules. So I take it it's a three-way kind of situation going on. I had no idea that these books centered around BDSM. I know now, and I'm here for it. So I am excited to go on to the sequel and learn about these new characters. I will say that the character Tink has been introduced in book 1 and is still in book 2, and I am waiting for Tink's book. She's curvy, she's got an attitude that could kill. She's a stylist. Like, I like Tink, and I want Tink's story, and I'm pretty sure A Worthy Opponent is the third book, and I'm pretty sure that's Tink's book, so I'm really looking forward to that. But also, I am still enjoying Learned My Lesson. I think that Hades and Meg are an interesting couple to follow, and bringing Hercules into the story as well is interesting. I still don't know whether, like, I feel like it's set in this world, but it's not. I don't know. I have no idea. And that is originally why I knocked a star off of Desperate Measures, because the world just wasn't fleshed out enough, and it kind of took me out of the story a bit. So yeah, Desperate Measures, I gave a 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I took off stars because of the world and because I felt like I wanted slightly more plot, but I did really, really enjoy it, especially that ending. So I'm excited, and I've already moved on to the next book. The thoughts on the next book will be in my next vlog, because I'm going to cut this one off here because it's getting a bit long. So if you're interested to see my thoughts on the second book in this series and whatever else I decide to read next week, then please subscribe. I'll like this video, it helps me out, and comment down below what you've been reading. And if you're interested in reading any of these, let me know in the comments. I like talking to you guys, especially about what you're up to and what you're reading. I hope that you're all having a great day, great week. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you're having a great time. And that is all I have for you. So I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, happy and healthy, and I shall see you next time. Bye.
Pack up my summer in a Ziploc bag. Old maps and tchotchkes, photographs at this and that. I'll write myself a letter so that I'll remember